Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Crop formations.
Crop formations, yes.
Yes. For about 15 years, I've been researching both.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Yes, it is. Physical research as well as spiritual research.
Yes, yes. The two go hand in hand because there is nothing non-spiritual about physical reality.
That's right.
Ooh, that was a big lesson for some.
The energy I have consciously chosen to study along that path, and pretty much as soon as I got into it,
yes.
And somebody here earlier mentioned the Arcturians.
Yes.
What I believe is, well, through synchronicities, Arcturians have played a role and have...
all the beings in the Enneagram have played a role, as well as other spirit beings, other guides, other levels of dimensional consciousness, and even the consciousness of your own world, individually and collectively, have played a part in the creation of that language, of that multidimensional imagery that aids and assists you in being reflective of who you really are, or at least giving you a hint and a clue of the path to follow to discover yourselves.
Yes. And that was actually my next question was...
Well, thank you for allowing us to answer it ahead of time.
Thank you. My involvement in the studying and maybe dissemination of that information. Arcturians, a particular role they play, why is it the synchronicities are coming from?
It's a stabilizing energy, an aligning energy that allows one more ease of alignment with the true core frequencies of their being. That's what the Arcturus energy plays a part in doing.
And I heard you mention earlier, they're not physical. They are...
Not as you understand physicality, no.
Okay. More of a consciousness.
Yes.
Okay. That's question number one.
All right.
Was basically reminding me consciously of what I think I already know unconsciously.
Thank you.
So I'll continue to do that work because that brings me my highest excitement.
Yes.
Second and last, I was recently in Mount Shasta.
All right.
While I was there, there was a group of about 150 people from South America who were there for what we would call a contact.
Yes.
And I believe I saw craft.
Oh, all right.
That was associated with that contact.
All right.
There was a specific name that I was unaware of and was wondering if you knew anything about this particular
Are you referring
energy?
to Yael?
It's actually Antarel or Antarel. I'm unaware of this name, yet a researcher friend of mine, Paula Harris, was there, witnessed it, has written a story since. And the name hasn't rang a bell. I don't know what consciousness this is, what energy it is, and very curious because I've never heard of it before.
It is an offshoot extension of the hybrid civilization that will be one of the first to have open contact with your civilization.
Okay.
Does that help you?
That absolutely helps me.
All right.
Thank you. That's all that I have for you.
All right, thank you. Then that's all I have for you.
There you go. Thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
First of all, let me thank you for all your teachings, and I just want to tell you that I appreciate you so much.
All right. Well, we thank you for the co-creation.
My highest excitement seems to be lately regarding psychedelics.
All right.
Plant
Yes.
teachers.
Yes.
And I am curious about the big picture on ayahuasca and DMT and the difference thereof.
Well, they are guides and specific frequencies to allow you to experience altered states that give you an understanding of what kind of vibrational states you can come from in life, what kind of vibrational states you can recreate within yourself without necessarily requiring the teacher of the plant all the time. They are opportunities to be able to hone your senses, to be more able to perceive things that were heretofore invisible, that are all around you all the time, to allow your senses to peer into other dimensions and begin to break down the veils and the barriers between what you consider to be physical reality and other levels of dimensional reality. That's what they're there to do, to remind you of your connection to Source, your connection to Spirit, to allow you to function more holistically as a human being, as a part of nature, an expression of nature on the earth, and to allow you to perceive that you are connected to much more than you may think. But once they teach you this, the idea is also that you don't really need them any longer and that you can recreate those states within yourself anytime you so desire.
Awesome.
Yes. Oh, well put. Way to sum up.
Any danger I should be aware of while using
The
this?
only idea you might consider to be dangerous, which isn't really, is that you have to be prepared to face whatever it is they are going to show you about yourself and any fears you may be harboring. But it's not really dangerous. It might just feel like a wild ride.
Mm-hmm. Well, one of my fears is that I may be given false information and...
By the plant?
Yes.
You can't be given false information by the plant. What you can do, however, is that if you're holding on to certain belief systems that cause the information to be filtered in a way that's misaligned with what really would resonate with you, then you can certainly have that experience. But always look to yourself to see that you're the one that's going to be coloring that information. The information from the plant cannot be false.
Great.
Does that help?
Yes.
Always bring it back to yourself. Always take responsibility for what it is you are perceiving. It doesn't matter if someone else actually even has an intention to deceive you or falsify anything. Always take responsibility for your part in the co-creation, and you will always be able to unerringly guide yourself back to a center point, no matter what kind of information you are being fed. Yes?
Yes.
You can see through any illusion, the more transparent to yourself you become. You can see through any illusion, the more transparent to yourself you become. This is why the greatest sages, the greatest masters, and the greatest teachers, and the greatest literature on your planet has for centuries boiled down the ultimate answer, the ultimate idea to a simple 2 words. Know thyself.
Yes.
And then you will understand any reflections you may encounter, because you will understand it is all reflections, and if something is out of alignment, look to yourself first. Yes?
Yes, and that is my intention to...
All right, then if it is your intention, allow it to flow out through your actual actions. Remember, true knowing is synonymous with behavior. The things you know are true, you just do. If I ask you to walk across a room, you don't sit there and go, well, I think I can. Well, wait, I believe I can walk across the room. No, you just walk. The things you know are true, you just do. Action and knowing are synonymous. So if your behavior doesn't exhibit it, that means you don't quite know it yet. So keep digging.
Yes. So part of my interest with these plant medicines is that I wish to help my sister to come out of the downward spiral that she's been in for 25 years.
All right, but again, you heard us talk to someone else about doing your best to be an example of what she may choose, but you have to allow her to choose her path, even if it's negative. She may not be ready to take you up on a different course of action. Mm-hmm. If she is, she will. But the only way she will is if you simply provide the opportunity by being the best example you can be of someone who, if they choose that path, reflects the joy that she may in her heart wish to have, but again, may be too afraid to jump on, maybe too afraid to act on. So if you can allow yourself to impart information that you have learned from the plants in a way that will allow her to not be afraid to get in touch with her own deep-seated fear-based beliefs and allow her to let them go, then she may walk that path side by side, but if she chooses not to, there is not much you can do to change her mind. Do remember, however, there is never any reason in any way, shape, or form to despair. You are all eternal, infinite, indestructible beings. If it doesn't happen now, it'll happen sometime. Because you have all of infinity to explore who you are. And by your own definition, infinity never ends. Yes?
That's very reassuring.
Well, that's just the way things are. Does that help you?
Yes, it does very much. Thank you so much.
You are so very much welcome.
One more thing.
Yes.
What is this about triple numbers and meaningful numbers like 911 or 322?
Many people will use the idea of numerics to create signs and symbols and road markers so that when they experience the synchronicity of those numbers coming up, it will be like a sign that you are in the correct vibration and in line with your path.
Even like 911 is usually has negative connotations.
Well, you've given it one, but you can also recognize it has a positive one. Think of the idea of the phoenix rising from the ashes, yes?
I did not know that was related to 911.
I am saying it is related to the incident that you are relating 9/11 to.
Oh, okay.
So the idea is you can recognize, again, as we said earlier, that something can be generated from a fear-based belief. Something can be created. A situation can absolutely be manifested from a negative point of view. That doesn't mean that you have to use those symbols in a negative way yourself, just because other people may relate to it that way. Yes?
Yes.
All right. So give yourself an opportunity to recognize 11 is a power number, a gateway to higher dimensions of higher consciousness, and 9 is the number of the completion of a cycle. So if you're completing an old cycle that activity, that incident represents, then you can take that as the beginning of a new cycle that begins with 11, which means you're going up a level, you're going up a dimension, you're going up a notch, and you're going up in vibration, so that if you change the way you go about doing things and relating to other people on your planet, then such things will never have to happen again in the negative context that they happened before.
Wow. I have arrived to this venue this morning at exactly 9/11.
All right. Well, you see, there's positive benefit in that.
I even had to go around the block once because I missed the entrance.
You missed nothing.
No, I mean, when I came the second time, it was exactly 9/11.
Yes. So the idea of those numerical symbols can, in their most fundamental sense, simply represent perfect timing. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Does this help?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It helps a lot.
Hi, Bashar.
Honey, you good day.
Good day to you. Andy Esasani, I've been looking forward to speaking with you in this moment.
All right. And through what story will you be doing so?
Well, it's going to start with a Father's Day story.
Father's Day story.
Yes, because it is Father's Day on Earth.
Yes, we understand.
I was wondering, do you guys have those days?
No.
No, you don't.
Every day.
Every day is a celebration.
Yes.
Okay.
We do not delineate the idea of special days in that way specifically.
In what way do you?
We don't.
You just don't.
There are recognitions of certain things that happened in what you would call our history that are noted for their particular vibrational resonance, but we don't surround them with the kinds of rituals that you do. We simply experience that vibration and move forward.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to express that since we're talking about stories, I wanted to share with you how my dad would say that. He'd say,
all right,
I'd tell you a story. Because he likes pirate stuff, so he would say that. So I just wanted to share that with you. And my story actually starts a bit with my dad.
Yes.
We just saw the movie Thor.
Oh, all right.
And it was, I didn't really want to see it at first, but he's like, no, you really will love seeing this movie. You got to see it.
And did you?
I did. And I was exhilarated. And, if you
Why?
guys, because I saw these different beings
yes.
in the galaxy, other races. And I felt such a connection to them, and I wish I was there with them acting
all
out
right.
the different.
Does that mean you're also going to go see the latest movie entertainment that also deals with other beings in the galaxy?
There's one that I do plan to go see. It's the
Is it the color green?
Green Lantern,
All
yes.
right.
And I did have a question about that.
Yes.
There's been talk that, as open contact becomes more open,
Yes.
that society will start showing more of what other races look like. Is that right? Not right, but
Do you mean, will your depictions in your science fiction stories become more accurately representative of
Yes.
some of the races that exist?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. And does that movie reflect that?
Some.
Okay.
Now, again, remember, anything you can imagine is real, because you cannot
Right.
imagine non-existence. But when I say some, I mean some that are relevant to anything that you could experience as being somewhat similar to your understanding of reality. All of them
Okay.
are real in their own context, but may not be relevant to your dimension of experience. But some actually are.
Okay. Thank you. So when I was watching the movie Thor, I felt like I wanted to be there, and I was kind of meditating on that later on after the movie, and my inner guidance told me, because I was asking, well, why am I not there if
You
I
are.
like it so much?
You are. You are not, but you
Right.
are.
Right. And I received that. Well, that is part of you. That is
Yes.
you. And
That's why you resonate to it.
Right. And you're on Earth to bring that here
Yes.
as an emanation.
Yes.
So I
you're the
was-
conduit. You're the valve
Yeah.
through which you can bring that energy down to Earth and give off a vibration that will allow choices to be made that are in alignment with that frequency.
Yes. So I was very happy.
That's
with
why you have these kinds of stories. That's why one of the most powerful storytelling tools you have is movies, because it really gives you an interactive experience. And what you
Right.
call theme parks. It gives you an interactive experience of story. And thus it sinks in because you're actually viscerally there in the vibration and together, unified in many ways.
I feel that a lot. And
Yes.
the next
Now,
part of
we
the
wish
story,
to also point out a very interesting
Yes.
polarity happening at this time with respect to these kinds of stories that involve what you call extraterrestrial beings. Because in this moment right now, you actually have presented at the same time a completely polarized idea of this notion in your entertainment. You have the idea we have just discussed of a story that involves the idea of what you would call an interstellar peacekeeping corps of extraterrestrials. And at the same time, you're also premiering
the Transformers movie.
that and also another one called
Cowboy.
Falling Skies, where your world is dominated by extraterrestrials on your television
I did see
sets. So you have presented the polarity for yourself so that you can explore and play with the idea of both sides simultaneously. You're bringing these creations closer and closer and closer to the center point so that you can really experience the balance of the dark and the light, the balance of the negative and the positive, and really decide what you prefer by exploring these stories so close to each other, on top of each other even. Good timing.
Yeah. Thank you for expanding on that. I remember the first time I heard you speak of the EIL, the Shalanaya.
Yes.
And all the senses in my being just perked up.
All right.
And I got goosebumps.
They are
And
part of your story.
yes,
you are
they
part of theirs.
are. They are. And I have
They
nev-
are one of the other hybrid races, the first one that will contact your world for those asking the question in their minds, what's the Shalanaya?
And I got goosebumps, and I never get goosebumps that I remember except for when I'm cold. And so I thought, I always heard people talk about getting goosebumps, but I've never got them. And then so when I got them, I was like,
Well, now I
whoa.
can't say that anymore.
I know, right? I can't say that anymore. And I was like, wow, that is true. And as I listened to it,
Yes.
the goosebumps they were like waves. They just continued to like electrify me.
Yes.
And
you understand fundamentally what that effect is you call goosebumps?
I don't know.
The idea is that they will be constrictions around the hair follicles that will allow the hair follicles to rise up and become more receptive antennas to that energy.
Oh, wow. That's neat.
Yes.
Thank you for expanding on that. And so as I continued to listen to that, I just closed my eyes and I got a sense as if I was there with them. Even now, like I feel like I can tap into them.
Yes.
And there's been certain occurrences and instances, one being all of the month of May, I saw these clouds over Mount Baldy, that's close to where I live, that I've never seen like that ever before. They look like the ones on Mount Shasta.
Yes.
You know, and they were over Mount Baldy, the range, and the whole month of May. I haven't seen them June, but I just thought, wow, that is so amazing. I felt like that was their presence showing themselves.
Well, in a
here.
sense, it is more the idea of your collective consciousness creating symbolic representations of what you are becoming more and more aware of, and in a sense, preparing yourselves for something more solid. You're using your own weather, you're using your own clouds to create shapes to represent what you will actually ultimately see in physical form.
Okay.
You're preparing yourselves
and I
for
felt
contact with those forms. They're like placeholders.
And
because you are changing your weather.
right. I was wondering if you could tell a bit of a story of maybe some of the things you know that the Shalanaya or the IL would like for us to know at this time where we're at on Earth, and how we can be more open to
All
them.
right.
And how
Water is very important. The more you allow yourself to allow crystallization, purification, higher resonance energies to, in that sense, interact with the structure of the water that you drink, the more you will aid and assist in the clarification of your bodily systems and the increasing of the silicon in your systems to make you more receptive to our frequencies, more receptive to our communications, so that you may receive those communications in the beginning of dialogues that will lay down the foundations and lay down the paths of our eventual contact. Water is key.
Thank you.
That is the message from them.
I heard them. Thank you. I was wondering if you could share some knowledge on the different visuals of some of our extraterrestrial races, such as the Palladians, the Arcturians, the Syrians, and the Argarthians. Do they look similar?
Pleiadians, in that sense, are genetically connected to you. You are like long-lost cousins. So in that sense, they are very humaniform. The idea of the physical race in the star system of Sirius is that which has been described as somewhat amphibious, in that sense, somewhat salamanderish. The idea of the non-physical consciousness connected to Sirius is, of course, non-physical. The idea of Arcturus energy in that sense is also a non-physical consciousness that does not have form in the way you would understand it, but is represented by the idea of the glowing orange orbs that many of you have seen.
Oh, okay.
What you are referring to as a Garthan in that sense is actually known by another frequency altogether that is very ancient, and they do not share the idea of physical form as you know it. There are other races that you will encounter eventually in time that are not like your species at all. We have from time to time described some of these. We will not really go into the list right now, but will at what you call a future time focus on the idea of a transmission that describes many of these races.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the sharing of your story.
Thank you. I have some more, if that's okay. It's
Your
okay.
story has an epilogue.
Yes, yes.
Make it brief.
Okay. I have heard you speak of the span between 2010 and 2015 and the sensing of energy at that moment.
Yes, the splitting prism.
And can you speak a little more on the splitting prism and where the energy on Earth is at this sensing of the energy?
The trains are already leaving the station. The tracks are getting slightly farther and farther apart. Be on the train you wish to be on before you can never reach the other track.
Right.
That's all we will say for now.
Okay.
Take everything we have said in the transmission over the course of what you call these 3 days and apply it to decide and choose what story you will be, what track you will be on.
Thank you. I am.
All right. Thank you.
I wanted to say good day to you, this day of your time. How are you all? All right. Thank you. Thank you once again for the co-creation of these interactions and the allowance of this transmission in this way at this time. We would like to begin this transmission by reminding you that it is titled Nature's Social Network. The idea being that there are a variety of ways that different elements, different expressions in nature communicate with one another because you are all immersed in a web of energy and information. But there are very specific ways in which these connections in the energy web are expressed depending upon the expression of nature. First, we remind you that you do not exist in nature, you are nature. Your bodies are an expression of the nature of the reality that you have chosen to experience. We know that for some time, many individuals within humanity have, in the past, thought of themselves as being separate from nature, maybe living in it, maybe being surrounded by it, but not necessarily considering themselves to be of it. But you are. Your world has given you the ability to crystallize a physical form out of the elements of nature that exist in your reality at your vibratory level of energy, rendering that energy, crystallizing that energy into what you call the perception of matter. So you are absolutely an extension of nature on Earth. But in societies that exist on your planet who have forgotten that, not everyone, but many, then there is an important need to allow yourselves to begin to experience yourselves once again as you did long ago as expressions of nature. This would be the first step in being capable of perceiving and connecting in a conscious way to the web of information, the web of energy that connects you all, that connects all nature, all things, in your experience of reality. But we will begin by describing one of the ways, or two of the ways, or maybe three of the ways we will see, that different expressions in nature have of expressing this connectivity and utilizing this connectivity in a variety of ways to support life, to support consciousness and its expressions in your reality. Let us begin with the trees. We have talked about the idea from time to time that trees, in a sense, are very much like antennae protruding upwards into the sky from the earth. And the way they are structured based on certain mathematical ratios, they are sensitive to many different kinds of higher level energies, and they can, like an antenna, receive those energies in the very fine tips of their branches and leaves, and transform and transmit and step down and allow that energy to be guided into the earth, to be used in a variety of ways, to be tapped into by whatever needs to tap into that energy at whatever frequency is relevant for the different life form that may choose to tap into that energy and utilize that connective energy web. But more than that, deep underground, in the roots of trees and plants, there is another expression of this connective network, this social network. In any given group of trees, you will find in these forests that the roots of the trees, in whatever way they may choose to spread out, are also connected to what has been termed in your language the mycelial network. The mycelial network is a type of growth of fungal filaments that attach to the roots and go from one tree to another, to another, to another, to another, throughout the grove, throughout the forest. So in a forest where the trees are dense, all the trees are connected underground by their roots through this fungal mycelial network. Now, this network of filaments that connect all these roots are not only for the purpose of transmitting energy, are not only for the purpose of transmitting information, but they provide a true demonstration of the intelligence inherent in all life forms on your planet, whether you think they are necessarily intelligent or not. Not only can information and energy be transmitted through the mycelial network in much the same way that your neural net in your brains transmit impulses, electrical impulses, between all the different neurons, this mycelial network can transmit those kinds of impulses, but also serves many other functions. The mycelial network can actually transmit water from one tree to another where water may be lacking. So the trees that are receiving more water will know through the information of the mycelial network which trees may not be receiving enough water, and they will actually intentionally send more water through the mycelial network to the trees that require it. They will send food and nutrients through the mycelial network as well to the trees that require it. This is a true transport system underground for the trees of a forest. And there is vast amount of information, vast amount of exchange going on under your feet when you walk through a forest, like an underground subway network that you may not even have been aware of going on just a few feet underground, right under your feet. All this talk, all this communication, foodstuffs, water, impulses back and forth. It's very busy going on under there. It's its own kind of city. Now, sometimes you can tell where these mycelial networks might be because one of the offshoots of the fungal filaments might be that at a certain point, mushrooms and other fungal forms will come up through the ground, showing you exactly where some of these mycelial networks may have blossomed into another expression and form of life that then aids and assists and adds to the overall communication web going on in that forest. One of the things that has come down through stories and legends on your planet is the idea of what you call fairy rings, which are usually described as the idea of mushrooms in a circle forming a fairy ring, as you call it, to which different forms of nature spirits and elementals may be attracted, or you may be able, if you are able to perceive them, find them gathering in those areas. This is because it is their form of connecting to the mycelial network. They actually can use that ring, and it grows in a ring for the purpose of actually allowing other beings of different frequencies to tap into that network when they need to. In a sense, you could say, euphemistically, the fairy rings of different kinds of mushrooms that crop up from the mycelial network underground so that there can be an interface with different kinds of nature spirits to that web of information are almost, in a sense, kind of like their Stonehenge. You understand? So it forms that circle to capture that energy, to transmit that energy in a very efficient way. It forms a kind of energy web lens by being in a circular form, and that helps aid and assist in the amplification of the energy, of the information, and it also transmits it to the particular vibration needed for the elementals and the nature spirits to be able to access that information based on their nature. Now, there are other forms of communication and social networks in nature. When you're talking about the idea of the elements themselves, not elementals, but the elements themselves, what you would call the hard minerals, what you would call rocks, what you would call boulders, what you would call foothills, what you would call mountains, there is another system that is concurrent with what we are describing that uses the energy web in a different way. One thing that only very few of your scientists have begun to realize and are beginning to investigate is that there is what we might term a deep resonance field that exists, that is, generally speaking, on a vibratory level that is below your ability to sense. If you are sensitive enough, you can feel it, you can tap into it, but generally speaking, it is not always audible to you. It is a very deep, thrumming, vibrating, resonant energy, the deep energy resonance field that is part of the electromagnetic field of your planet that it issues, but it is tuned and pitched in such a way that it actually forms a communication network between all of the crystalline minerals and rocks and mountains on your planet. This is the vibratory level of the nature of that kind of consciousness, of mineral or crystalline consciousness. And it communicates readily in a variety of ways through that deep resonance field. Now, some of your scientists are also beginning to understand and realize that everything is made of consciousness. Everything is self-aware in its own way. It may not be self-aware in the way that you express it, but nevertheless, it is still a reflection. It knows itself as a reflection of all that is in its own way, in its own interpretation. And they are recognizing that consciousness is pervasive and permeates everything in creation. Very few cutting-edge quantum physicists are beginning to explore this. The term they have used for this is called panpsychism, or the idea that they are now beginning to express that there is a proto-consciousness field that exists everywhere, and out of which consciousness in its various forms of expression may arise. So the proto-consciousness field itself is another way that many beings throughout creation will form this sort of energy net and energy web. This is generally what is used by what you would call animals on your planet, humans on your planet, in a variety of ways. They tap into the idea of this consciousness field, and based on the configuration of the consciousness, in other words, what kind of a being it is, because the kind of being you are is a description of how you are energetically arranged as a kind of a matrix to filter this consciousness field through yourself and express it in the ways that are germane and relevant for the description of what you are, of who you are. So animals, humans, all that kind of life will utilize the consciousness field and will, through themselves, filter it in such a way as to create different frequencies, different vibrations that are given off that are specific to those particular types of animals, those particular types of beings. So this is what it means when you learn to talk cat, talk dog, talk fox, talk dolphin, talk any kind of animal, is picking up on the specific resonant frequency of the consciousness field that they are using, their particular wavelength, their particular, well, if you wish, radio station, to dial in yourself to those frequencies. Now, the idea of humanity, in a sense, not being in any way, shape, or form better than any of this, has itself, by definition, one interesting and unusual difference in all of this, and that is Not that other animals can't do it if they need to, but the idea of humanity, of what you would call sentiency in your form, has the ability to actually, and is built into the ability to actually go up and down the range of these frequencies we are describing. So that you can tune in, so that you can, in a sense, funnel through you all the different wavelengths, all the different frequencies, all the different forms of communication and resonance to express an amalgamation of these ideas, a kind of combination, a kind of synergy of all these ideas. You are the form on Earth that can process all of this into one large overall understanding and expression of holism on your planet, which is why you think of yourselves in many ways as the stewards of the Earth, of the land, the humans, of the sea, the dolphins and the whales. So the dolphins and whales also have this ability to go through a range of frequencies very naturally to pick up on and tie together and link together and express synergistically the idea of many different kinds of forms of life and expressions on your planet. This is why, in a sense, it is given to you to be the caretakers. Now, in the past, because of negative definitions and negative belief systems, many humans on your planet have thought that this meant that you have domination over all the other life on your planet. This is not the case. In the old interpretation, in some of your ancient scriptures, where it says that mankind has dominion over the earth and all life on earth, the ancient term dominion in that sense meant caretaker, not overlord. So the idea is dominion is given to you to be the one to process and synergize and caretake and represent all the different forms of life on your planet and nurture and support and give life to all of these things along with them in a way that creates this holistic net to be amplified and magnified so that all life forms can pick up on the information they require to sustain themselves in the best possible way, the most beneficial possible way for all concerned. In a sense, you have the ability to actually become the frequency of the net itself, and thus, in any given situation or circumstance, connect into whatever kind of consciousness expression you need to, be it the trees, be it the animals, be it the rocks, by simply being sensitive enough to the fact that you are the synergizers to go within yourself and get more precise ability to tell the difference between the different frequencies that are expressed by the different forms of life, so that in honing in on those frequencies you can have the kinds of ongoing communication and exchange of information that is possible to have with all the different forms of life on your planet. You form your own nature social network on a certain resonant frequency that is itself representative of the combination of all the frequencies. Is this making some sense to you?
Yes.
All right. So the idea, again, is that, of course, everything expresses itself in a different way, a different modality. And it's about really tuning in and, in a sense, taking on the mantle of that modality and expressing it as strongly through your reflective aspects, your reflective nature as you possibly can to strengthen and amplify and reinforce that modality for that form of life. So when you are learning to communicate with a dog, with a cat, with a bird, you are actually taking on the resonance, fine-tuning to that resonance, and reflecting it back in a way that actually starts a back and forth kind of energy beat. And in that energy beat, as it levels itself into that particular frequency, you then start to perceive communication in the form in which it is expressed from that animal, because you are expressing that aspect within yourself, because you contain all those frequencies that are representative of all the animals and all the trees and all the rocks and the sky and the sea and everything on your planet. So it's about becoming a very fine-tuned station, a very fine-tuned antenna, receiver, and transmitter, so that you can really start to perceive those different frequencies in a very fine-grained way and really lock into them much more strongly, so that you can amplify that vibration between yourself and the life form you are communicating with, and then start to really interpret and transceive the communication in the modality that it is expressing itself from, because you become like them. This is the secret of the shamans, in the sense of actually being able to tap into parallel realities in such a way that they actually represent themselves as the animal they are in communication with. This is the source of the idea of seeing shamans turn into birds, turn into jaguars, turn into various animals. It's not in a sense that any molecular rearrangement has happened. What is happening is that, like the sages that Willa has spoken of, they have the ability to understand their connection to parallel versions of themselves in parallel realities so strongly that they can actually represent themselves and bring in a representation from a parallel reality strongly enough that you actually perceive that parallel reality representation instead of the human form that was basically in the parallel reality that you inhabit. So they are presenting a reflective mirror so strongly that you think they have actually changed their shape. You follow me? But all you're getting is a reflection from a parallel reality, because the shaman is being a perfect mirror angled at just the correct angle to reflect that parallel reality expression of their consciousness from another parallel reality into your consciousness. So a shaman is a perfect mirror that operates at different angles, reflecting different realities to you. Do you understand? It is not about the idea of molecular change. That's not what shapeshifters do. They take advantage of this consciousness field in such a way as to extend beyond the consciousness field of what you consider to be your universe and go into the consciousness field of other universes, and therefore can reflect things and expressions of consciousness from those other parallel realities into the reality in which they originated. So this all comes down to the idea that you are ensconced in, embedded in, immersed in a titanic, infinite social network of energy webs at certain vibratory levels, and you can tap into these more consciously as you start to explore within yourself your caretaker nature to all of nature, and remind yourself, again, first and foremost, that you are not above nature, not below nature, not separate from nature, but are nature. So find your natural selves. This is why we suggest to you in many occasions that it's not about finding out how to be normal. It's about finding out how to be your natural self, because your natural self is tapped in, does understand these connections, and when you relax the idea of what you think you're supposed to be and actually allow yourself to be what you are as nature expressed you, you will find yourself being a part of nature, not separate from it. And these kinds of communications and your ability to tap into nature's social network, you will find will already be inherent within your skills, your talents, your abilities to perceive this more and more readily. Does this make sense? Yes. All right. So let us proceed in a natural way and open up to the idea of sharing at this time, if you wish. As you prepare, or it'll say we will continue the transmission by suggesting and encouraging each and every one of you to relax. Start breathing gently, deeply, easily, effortlessly, and let go of the cares of the day. You are here and you are now, and there is nowhere more important to be. So allow yourselves to continue to breathe gently, easily, deeply, as your lights begin to play and your music begins to play. Allow yourselves to fall into the dream and drift with us in your consciousness. As you gaze upon the holotope and realize that what you are looking at is a reflection of your own consciousness, and all the lines of light and information and energy that stretch out from you toward all probabilities. And as you remember the experiment and the exercise that we did this day, and those things that were duplicated, reinforced, and strengthened
that may not be to your preference. And those things that were duplicated, reinforced, and strengthened, that were in alignment with who you prefer to be. Allow yourselves to see in the different directions of the spirals and the lines, those lines leading to all of those probabilities, negative and positive, positive and negative, with you at the center in the Trinity spot of neutrality, where all things are equal and all things are valid. And even though there may be things that are not in alignment with your preference there, they are nevertheless equally valid as choices and experiences within all that is. So that you can learn by staying in that neutral space to choose what you prefer without invalidating what you do not prefer and giving it more energy than it requires just to be, just to be, just to be. Or just because you can see it doesn't mean it will affect you. But now that you are aware of where the collective consciousness focus might be, you can begin to stretch your imagination along those lines of light and begin to allow information to come to you from parallel realities that exist simultaneously with your experience, but which are more reflective and representative of the reality experiences you prefer, that are representative of your joy, of your passion, of your truth, your being, your essence, your core, your signature frequency of life, light, and love. And remember that this transmission was titled The Window of Opportunity and Discovery. This discovery is an opportunity for you with this new title to realize that you always, no matter what you discover within yourselves, individually or collectively, that discovery is always an opportunity for change, for expansion, for growth, for experience that serves and supports and nurtures life, love, and light. And nothing is chiseled in steel or stone that does not represent your best essential selves, for you are the ones to chart the course of your life, regardless of what anyone else may choose. Allow yourself to feel the currents that draw you toward the shores that you prefer to inhabit, toward the shores that you prefer to discover within the infinite sea of your being. You create the maps. You chart the course. You are the compass needle pointing to your magnetic north, your truth, your essence, your journey, along with all the other journeys that harmonize in their own way with yours. Different paths, all leading to the same effect of passion and joy, creativity and love, and the expressions of them in your life, because that is the essence of your being, the true power that requires the gentlest touch. No force required, no force necessary, for the current flows already to those places that you need to go. All you need to do is find the appropriate current that is you, and let it take you. Let it guide you. Let it pull you towards more of yourself, towards discovering more of who you are. Allow yourself to drift and dream within that current, and know that every change within you is a total and complete change of the entirety of the universe you experience. You never step into the same river twice. There are more branches on the tree than you can see, and there is always a new alternative and a new path that is more harmonious and in alignment with the true essential being that you are. A more natural path that allows you to know that you are not just in nature, but you are nature. An expression of the creativity of existence itself. An extension and a reflection of all that is, that you are discovering more and more of every day in every way, with your intentions to be at peace, in love, in light, and express yourself as harmonious life. Harmonious life. For that is the true definition of life, is to be in harmony and to expand and to integrate and to know yourself. Chart those courses on that map, on the endless sea of discovery that is the essence of your being, that is the essence of creation. And as you stand on the deck of that ship, the wind in your sails, the salt air in your lungs, take a deep breath in and feel alive and let it out. And add that breath to the sails so they may billow and carry you forth ever more swiftly upon that sea. And take another deep breath in and feel invigorated and refreshed and alive, and exhale into the sail that it may carry you forth ever more swiftly upon that sea. And take a deep breath in and feel the vibrations of your being, and hold it and hold it and blow it into the sail. For now you are the winds of change, the winds that guide you, that fill your sails, propelling you along that current, leading you to those beautiful shores, those brilliant shores, the sunlit shores, the moonlit shores, upon which beautiful wave after wave after wave of life and light and intelligence and brilliance and consciousness and beauty and grace wash upon those shores, and you land upon that shore. And though it may be to you an uncharted land, it is still a land made of you. And every new footstep and footprint you leave upon that beach is made within your consciousness and awakens within you more memory, more understanding, and more realization of the shores upon which you now walk, and opens up before you a magnificent and amazing vista of life, trees and lush jungles that contain mysteries and secrets of beauty and priceless gems of discovery, of consciousness, of awareness, of reflectivity, of self-awareness within you. Treasure chest upon treasure chest lies on these shores for you to discover, to appreciate yourselves and grow in value within yourselves, within your own understanding and relationship to yourselves. The deepest appreciation, like the deepest parts of the ocean, and the lofty gratitude and grace of the infinite blue skies and the space and stars above, and the land and the sea that stretches out before you. You stand upon the shores of discovery, before an infinite horizon, never ends. Chart your course. Pay attention to where you are. Pay attention to what you hear. Pay attention to what you know to be true. And chart your course. And arrive upon those shores. And discover not only more of yourself, but all the reflections that are waiting there for you. The reflections of us. The reflections of your guides. The reflections of your higher mind. The reflections of your ancestors. The reflections of your descendants. The reflections of all of the simultaneous, concurrent, parallel nows. Connect to what you need, for it is given to you, easily and effortlessly and joyfully. Accept the gifts that creation has to give. Accept the gifts of creation that you are. Give the gifts that you are to those waiting for them, so that they may also chart a course and discover the shores of their being in the uncharted waters that lay before them. Allow yourself to drift and dream upon the currents of the infinite sea. Swim in the depths and drink deeply of life, and be refreshed and feel alive. And ponder, and ponder, and ponder the probability that lay before you, that lay within you, the probability engine that you are. Choose. 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 Allow yourself to take a deep breath in and let it out. Allow yourself to take a deep breath in and let it out. Allow yourself to take a deep breath in and hold it, and hold it, and hold it, and let go of everything that is no longer relevant for who you prefer to be. Be at ease, be at peace, be in joy, be you. Allow your music to soften, allow your lights to dim, and continue to just breathe gently and easily, and float freely in the void that contains all probabilities, for it is not empty, though it may sometimes seem to be so. But in the silence, you will find your voice. Continue now to just drift and dream gently with us for a time. Remember, when you are surrounded by darkness, it is easier to see the light within. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home.